Have you ever looked at someone in your life, a mother, a friend, maybe even a stranger, and just felt something truly divine in their presence? Well, today we're going to dive into a really beautiful worldview that finds divinity not way up in some distant sky, but right here in the faces of the people who walk beside us.
This one line right here, it kind of gives us this beautiful mystery to solve, doesn't it? How can one single divine presence be found in countless different people? That's the paradox we're going to unpack together. Okay, so there's a formal name for this in Arcana spirituality. It's called Nakialesha Nova Mara, which means the multiplicity of the goddess. And here's the key theme to get. Divinity isn't seen as some static object, but as this living, flowing energy, what they call a feminine resonance that just echoes through the world. So, if the divine isn't just one single being, where in the world do we find it? Well, this first big idea shows us it's a lot closer than we think. It's really about learning to see it in our everyday lives.
According to the Doctrine, that divine spark isn't just for, some chosen few or ancient prophets. It shines right through the people who shape our lives. The nurture you feel from a mother, the loyalty of a friend, the wisdom of an elder, and even that quiet gut feeling inside you, that intuitive voice they call Nakia.
All these people, together, they create what the temple calls the circle of the living goddess. Now, this is super important. This is not about literally worshiping people as gods. Not at all. It's a practice of honoring the divine qualities that move through them, seeing their courage or their kindness as a reflection of something truly sacred. Okay, so if divinity is kind of everywhere, in all these different people, you might be asking, how does it all connect back to a single source? The Doctrine of Threads gives us this amazing metaphor to help us understand it.
This image just nails the concept perfectly. Think of the divine source, called Lalade, as this one singular, pure flame. But that flame isn't meant to just burn by itself in a temple somewhere. No, its light is carried by countless living lamps, and each person is holding their own piece of that original fire.
This is such a powerful idea, right? It implies that this isn't a passive thing. The divine doesn't just impose itself on people. Instead, every person, through who they are and what they do, actively chooses which piece of that divine fire, whether it's compassion or strength or wisdom, they are going to carry out into the world.
And that leads us to another key point. If this divine flame is carried by so many different people, it can't be rigid or static. It has to be fluid, adaptive, a flame that is always changing.
You see, the teachings always tie this divine nature back to the elements. It's not some fixed stone monument. It's as flowing as water, as changing as the tides. It can be as fierce as a fire or as gentle as the wind. It shows up in the world in whatever way the world needs it to.
And this is where it gets really personal. This means divinity shows up in the way your soul is ready for. So if you're needing comfort, she might appear in the gentleness of someone you love. If you need to grow, she might show up as a really hard truth from a wise friend. It's always what you need when you need it.
Okay, so we've established the divine is in many people, it's all connected, and it's always changing. But how do we actually see it in other people? This next part introduces something called the sacred mirror, which is all about the art of recognition.
There's this absolutely beautiful word for it, Seralume. It translates to the light behind the eyes. And it's the name for that unique little spark of divinity that every person carries inside them. It's not something you literally see with your eyes. It's something you feel, something you recognize with your spirit. So if you're someone who sees this inner light, in a lot of different people, in this tradition that's not seen as confusion, heck no, it's actually considered a sign that your spirit is tuned in. It means you're on a real, recognized spiritual path of honoring the divine in its living, breathing forms.
You know, these ideas are amazing, but where they really come alive is through a story, through a simple human connection. And this conversation at dusk just makes it all feel so real and so personal.
So we have two people, Pepi and Jeru. And Pepi starts with the very question we've been wrestling with, a question I'm sure we all feel, is the goddess one person or is she many?
And listen to Jeru's answer. It's just perfect. Notice, he doesn't describe some abstract goddess in the sky. He points to the real women in his life. He sees the goddess in his mother's strength, his grandmother's fire, and in Pepi's own unique, gentle power. This is the doctrine in action.
Then Pepi asks the logical follow-up, the question that really gets to the heart of it all. How can you possibly see the same being in so many different, unique people without it getting totally confusing?
And Jaru's response just flips the whole thing on its head. For him, seeing the divine in so many people isn't a source of confusion, it's a source of deep comfort. It means that when one person is gone, the divine isn't lost. It just keeps going, passed from breath to breath, making sure that sacred presence is never really gone from the world.
And this line right here just captures the balance perfectly. Jaru makes it clear. He isn't replacing Pepi with some goddess. He is seeing her completely and totally, and at the same time, he's recognizing the divine light that shines through her. It's about honoring both the person, the lamp, and the sacred flame that it carries inside.
This little poetic mantra is just a beautiful summary of everything we've talked about. It ties together that law of threads with the act of seeing the divine rising in their light, and it just captures the essence of this whole profound and personal way of seeing the world.
And so that leaves us with one last question. But this question isn't for some ancient text, it's for you, right now. This whole explainer is really a lens you can use to look at your own life. So take a moment and think. If divinity really does wear many faces, which ones have you been lucky enough to see today?